How to deserve and negotiate a big hike. Yearly increments and negotiating them is not a one-day thing. If you have a certain number in your mind and if you happen to speak about that to your manager only when he is discussing the yearly ratings with you, then I'm sorry to say there is very less that he and you can do to change those ratings. Even if he wants to do, he will not be able to change them because he is bound by a series of approvals that it requires to change the number, the system processes, all that stuff, and honestly he'll not be interested in taking that much pain for you. As he too will be asked so many questions by the management for that ad hoc change in his decision. Like what was he doing earlier, why wasn't he clear about report his expectations or report his performance. Who wants to fall into that trap? Not many. It takes enormous amount of leadership skills to deal with such situations, and believe me, your regular managers will not be able to cope up with such a situation. So what you do, don't worry, I got you covered. In this video you will learn 3 things. First, the way to get started to these negotiations. Second, the best approach towards these negotiations. And third and last thing, the biggest mistake that most of the people do in this regards. So if that sounds interesting, stay tuned. Welcome to Corporate Diaries. Welcome back, guys. So before we start, I want to put a little disclaimer here that this content may not resonate with everyone out there, because this is solely meant for the people who are really passionate about their growth, who have that zeal to put every effort toward their success, and all that they need is little guidance. So with that being underlined, let's get started. So the first thing that you do is let your manager be aware about your expectations. If you're really serious and you feel you deserve a good hike and you always outperform your KRAs, then this is the time. Start leaving hints for your manager so that he can understand your expectations. Let him feel that vibe that you want it differently this time. You want something big this time. Let's say, for example, you intend to get 20 to 30% hike in a particular year, then this is the time. Most of the companies have their appraisal cycles from Jan to December, and some of them have starting from April. So just calculate 6 months from the start of your cycle. For example, in 2020 we are already approaching 6 months, so that's the time. Start throwing those hints towards your manager so that he knows. So there are 2 benefits of doing it. If your manager echoes with what you think you deserve, he will make necessary arrangements, he will take necessary approvals within the time frame so that he can get you towards that number. Second benefit, if he doesn't feel the same way that you do about your performance, then he will leave hints for you. You have to pick up those hints and find the right space to discuss that with your manager and see if there is something that you can add to your responsibilities that will lead you towards your aimed number, specific number of hikes. It's very important to time your actions, guys. I know you must have seen the HR rolling out the rating or appraisal communications during the end of the appraisal cycle, but believe me, as a HR, I can tell you the first draft of those ratings is done way too earlier than that communications, if not on papers, at least in minds of your managers. And then accordingly they start assigning a rating, a number to each reportee in his team so that he can fit everybody into the budget. So it's very important that you act on early. So as in we get into this video in more depth, you'll get explanation of the whole thing. Now moving towards the best approach for these negotiations, it happens with starting in direction of your aimed hike from the day 1, plus documenting every small effort of yours. Yes, from the day 1 when your goals are set, from the day 1 when your manager discuss the KRAs with you, you got to tell him that you are going to smash those goals this year, and then he has to figure out a way to compensate and reward you accordingly. Now obviously you can't say that to him in a Salman Khan style, but you can put forward that in a very assertive way that this year you are really looking forward to make that hike big, and you will not leave any stone unturned. You will do and put forward every single effort what it takes to get you to that number. That much hint is enough for your manager to understand how serious you are about your goals, and then he himself will carve out a path for you. He will assign projects or responsibilities accordingly, which will make you more visible and accountable. And then your responsibility is to eat, sleep and live by your KRAs, to perform as per your KRAs, and then jump onto something which is out of the box or out of the way. Because if you missed out on your KRAs and you did something out of the way, then you might get a pat on the back for that or any rewards or recognition for that, but your ratings will still be low. Just because you pick some random thing and you have put all your effort towards it, your manager is not going to add that achievement to your predefined parameters and then rate you 10 on 10 on that. He's not going to do that. He'll recognize you for that effort of yours, but your rating will still be low. Not many people understand this. I have done a detailed video earlier as well on this, so please do check that out. But please remember, you are always rated on your predefined goals. If you miss that, you are not going to reach your goal, the number you are aiming for. Do remember to document every little appreciation that you have received during the year, and document the effort that you have put forward to reach to your goal, to your KRAs, to achieve your KRAs, because data speaks louder than anything else. Your voice might not reach several levels of the management, but the data will certainly reach. Many times employees walk up to the HR telling that this is not done, my colleague got much more hike than me while I was the person putting all the hard work. So my suggestion is to analyze first where you are putting your efforts, in which direction you are putting your efforts. Are they aligned with your KRAs, or you are putting your efforts to some random things and later you don't have enough time to perform your KRAs? Is that the case? Because if your colleague has got a better hike than you and you were putting a lot of effort, then most likely his data is speaking louder than yours. Because remember, the person who's approving all these big hikes most probably is not sitting in the same office that you're working. He might be working from somewhere remote, he is from a different country, so he can't see you working so hard towards that goal. He can't see you putting your sweat and blood towards achieving your goals. He can't see that. All he can see is the numbers, the data. Honestly, we all take our decisions likewise only. Even when we want to go out for lunch or dinner, we Google the rating of the place we intend to go to, right? And the place who has the best rating or reviews wins in our perception. There might be other small places as well which are really good, putting a lot of effort, but they will lose out to a place who has more number of reviews, because Google doesn't have the data for that small place. So that's how it works. Regular communication with your manager is the key, guys. See, the whole idea is we don't want to give any chance to the manager to point us out later at the year end that this is the reason why I didn't give you the hike you expected. Rather, we proactively reach him out for the feedback on our performance, so that if there is any such why, if there is any such reason that he feels that we are lagging behind, then we need to fix that why immediately. Another interesting advice that I wish to include here is be prepared to be creative around your asks. There can be certain outside factors that can kick in, for example, limited budget, company didn't do well a certain year and stuff like that. So you have to be ready with an alternative of your ask in your mind. For example, you were expecting 20% hike, then you settle down for less, for example 12 to 15%, and then you ask for a different role or different kind of title, something that satisfies you. So that will not happen overnight. You have to put effort towards thinking that beforehand. And if there is a situation where you are expected to be accommodative enough for that bad circumstances, and you are given like 12 to 15% hike, and rest of the hike is promised to you to be topped up in the next appraisal cycle, then mind you guys, please get that communication or that promise over an email from your manager. Include that person's manager in loop and let that email float to the entire HR account. Not just single HR BP who was handling the account of your team, but the entire HR account. The reason is tomorrow your manager and that HR BP can leave in mid, can leave the company, or there can be certain changes. Then in that point, that verbal promise will not be of any use, and then you will have to regret. So now it's time to know the biggest mistake that people do in this regards, and that is the whole year employees sleep. They cook those stories of expectations and that certain number in their head. They don't leave any hint for anybody. They seem to be okay with pretty much everything, and they assume if I am doing really well, I am performing really well, I am putting my 200%, then it's my manager's responsibility to recognize my efforts and to pay me accordingly, to pay me big. Then it's a huge mistake. It never happens that way. So my dear employee, every single person is a star performer in their own head, and everyone is working tirelessly in their own point of view. If you don't put forward effort to figure out what it takes to be a star performer in management or your manager's point of view, then you will be stuck for a really long time unless you are blessed with a really good manager. So never assume, don't expect that people around you will recognize you for things which you yourself has never visibly valued or appreciated. Speak up, communicate your efforts and your expectations as well. No one does charity in corporates. Please remember that. With that, I really hope guys I brought some clarity to your perception. Do leave your comments below for me to know if you found this conversation valuable. That's all for today guys. I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe and happy. Take care. Bye.